Ethan.
It's a real sick fuck.
Wake up, Ethan.
Oh, this was rich, man. Again, the cowardice.
Action to Frogan.
Like, who are you? Okay, let me play it first.
By everyone, including XQC, is so fucking gross, dude. Straight up. You're fucking gross. That's all it is. Everybody acts like Frogan is the fucking Antichrist, okay? And it's so transparent what these fucking losers are doing. Like, you can have disagreements with Frogan if you want, but god damn, everyone is immediately, like, their reaction is so visceral. It's so goddamn visceral. Like, give me a fucking break, dude. This shit is so fucking normalized.
What is? Go on.
Like, Asmongold, XQC. I saw some of them go fucking viral too. It's like, yeah, bro, she's hijabi. I know. And don't even fucking for a moment act like that. Here we go again. Talking about Islamophobia. Yeah. So fucking normalized, dude. Islamophobia is the most normalized form of racism in the United States of America. This isn't to say that white supremacy, anti-black racism specifically, is not baked into every one of our fucking institutions. It certainly is. But Islamophobia is new in comparison to anti-black racism. So anti-black racism has evolved to become more invisible, whereas Islamophobia is prominent and very visible and still normalized in that same vein. I hate it. I hate that you can't even talk about it without people going, oh, here we go again. Islamophobia, sure. We just hate Islam. We just hate the religion. I'm an atheist. Yeah. Anti-black racism is incredibly fucking subtle in many ways. Like, the permissible anti-black racism is incredibly subtle because it has evolved throughout time, because it's at the very heart of American existence, right? You have to dog whistle. It's something that I talk about all the time, right? There's a level of anti-black racism that is permissible. There's a level of misogyny that is permissible. But once you go above that level of permissibility, and that boundary changes throughout time with societal attitudes shifting and becoming more reactionary. But when you reach that boundary of, like, you know, being a Klans member, for example, in terms of anti-black racism, most people turn around and go, ew, that's gross. I don't like that. If you stick to just saying, like, well, I don't know, their culture is kind of violent, that's why we got to police them all the fucking time. Most people, that's still anti-black racism, mind you, but most people will agree with that statement. It's a much easier way to get away with this kind of anti-black sentiment. With Islamophobia, you can literally say, oh, this hijabi Muslim is Jabba the Hutt and is a fucking monstrous terrorist piece of shit. That's it. Why is she a monstrous terrorist piece of shit? Because she thinks that people, understandably, are going to resist being murdered with the bombs that we pay for with our tax dollars. That is enough for people to go, oh, dude, you look like Jabba the Hutt and you're a fucking, you're Osama bin Laden in female form. That's fucking insane. That right there is the equivalent of, you know, doing monkey noise when you see a black person in terms of open and overt racism, open and overt bigoted statements that you can so easily just throw out there. That's it. This is what I mean. Islam isn't a race, it's a religion. Islamophobia isn't new. There are some schools of thought that suggest that one reason why Islamophobia is so pronounced is in part because enslaved Muslims were organizers for abolition. I don't know about that school of thought, but Islamophobia and the way that it works in American consciousness is relatively new. It initially popped off it started popping off a little bit, I would say, in the Iran hostage crisis. And then post 9/11, it just unfolded in this like major way. It's a post 9/11 phenomena where there needed to be a steady diet of anti-Muslim sentiment that was recycled through every orifice of culture and society so that people didn't feel horrible about constantly pummeling this region into the goddamn ground. That's what this is. And in the aftermath of all of that, in order to justify a surveillance state that could just like black bag random people living on fucking U.S. soil and constantly surveil them, constantly harass them, and even throw them in fucking Guantanamo Bay, you had to justify all of that by dehumanizing and depersonalizing Muslims in general and claiming that they were all barbaric terrorist monsters. What the fuck is wrong? What is wrong about Islamophobia? Aren't you allowed to dislike religion? This is precisely what I mean. It's like saying, what's wrong about anti-Semitism? Aren't you allowed to dislike religion? Islamophobia is racialized, okay? It's not just simply saying I'm critical of the religion. I don't get it. Dude, I don't get it. I'm just criticizing the religion. Why are you calling me anti-Semitic? I'm just criticizing Judaism, dude. Wow, we are the victims always. Wow, fuck Frogan. What the Sigma? Okay, dude. Does not contribute to this. They will say, "Oh, it's because we hate her opinions." Like, no, you reacted that way specifically for a very specific purpose, bro. I hate this. I hate this shit so much. But
he's so great. How is this helping anyone by like running defense for her simply based on identity politics? Like,
shut the fuck up. Oh my God. Oh my God. Okay, Steve Crowder. Islam is a religion, but Islamophobia is often tied to ethnicity and phenotypic expression linked to being able to be culturally Muslim. This is why the first attacker after 9/11 was on a sick man. Exactly. Anne kapıyı açtım. Açtım ama bilmiyorum. Yeah, a sick man was the first victim of an Islamophobic hate crime in the aftermath of 9/11 because they falsely assumed that this person was Muslim. Yeah.
Let's be real, okay? How is she ever going to improve as a person when all of her friends are continually like, "Oh, they're only saying that because you're wearing a hijab"? It's like,
Wait, what do you mean? Well, it's because it's true. And the reason why you're defending that is because you also feel the same way as Asmongold does. The hyper focus on Frogan and the great elevation of anything and everything that Frogan does is absolutely due to the fact that she's a woman, due to the fact that she's a visibly Muslim woman. Yes, as I mentioned in the video, she's outspoken, she's brash, she's rude, she has a penchant for drama. All of these things are true. Every fucking content creator is like that, okay? And you might even have disagreements with the things that she says. But the reason why you can't view it in a charitable lens, well, for Ethan, I think it's personal on top of the unlimited Islamophobia that he has in his heart, okay? But the reason why there is this extra hyper fucking focus on Frogan is because how dare she? How dare she be confident? How dare she be loud? How dare she be fucking rude? Doesn't she know her goddamn fucking place? That's what this is. That's what this is. You don't give a fuck. It's misogyny and it's Islamophobia that greatly elevates and makes her this visible figure of visceral disgust, I can't have this conversation with someone who refuses to even check themselves on the matter. This isn't to say that like everything that she does is 100% correct all the fucking time. This is not a defense across the board. Simply saying identity politics is ridiculous. You're hand waving away systematic forms of discrimination. Ironic because everyone directly argues against the points that you're making and never about your Jewish background, and yet you turn around and turn everything into anti-Semitism. Every criticism against Ethan is actually happening because of anti-Semitism. Every single time. Things might go wrong in his life. There might be a fucking wildfire happening, and it's Hassan and his anti-Semitic opinions. That's the reason. Oh, I bet he feels great about this wildfire. You know what I mean? Anything that goes wrong in his life, it's it's anti-Semitism. Anti-Semitism again. Stub my toe. It's Hassan and his anti-Semitic tendencies that caused me to fucking stub my toe. Like, how can you say this? How can you say this is just identity politics? It's ridiculous.
Ever responded to her, and his saying heinous, indefensible things every fucking week, bro. Every week. Now, could people be coming down harder on her because she's wearing a hijabi? It's possible, but we wouldn't fucking know because she's inciting it every fucking week. It's kind of hard to say.
I do want to say, unrelated to what you're saying, unrelated to what Hassan has said, I will say, though, on Twitter, and I haven't seen the XQC reaction or anything that Hassan.
You know what's crazy? It's like in the sea of all of the valid criticism of Ethan, do I believe that there are anti-Semitic criticisms of Ethan? Of course I do. Of course. Of course. Okay? Especially initially, especially before October 7, a lot of the criticism that Ethan faced revolved around his drama and the people that felt slighted or felt wrong by him and the communities of the people that he was attacking, sure. But there was also a big chunk of attacks that he was facing being visibly Jewish, like being a visible Jewish content creator, okay? Being a high-profile Jewish content creator put a shit ton of anti-Semitic crosshairs on him, okay? That's it. He should know this better than anybody else. Try to analyze the pain you're causing to other people by looking at the experiences that you have had leading up to that moment.
I was referring to, but on Twitter, the way this girl is treated is inhumane. Like it is.
Yeah.
Like
I would speak up about it too. Despite obviously she is an enemy of the show and everything, I do get uncomfortable how much I see people just making fun of her physical appearance. Not saying I saw the XQC reaction. I don't know about. I haven't seen Asmongold. I don't know what he's referring to with that. But all of like the photoshops and stuff with her, like you cannot like her, but you don't have to go there.
Yeah, I agree. That's not what Hassan said. I agree, though. A lot of
that is what I said. That is precisely what I said. You listened to what I said. And now, because your producers are actually as lightly as possible taking my side and Frogan's side on this, you have to manage the situation and be like, no, Hassan meant something different. Even then, Dan had to qualify it by being like, oh, she's an enemy of the show. Which moment when Frogan publicly praised Osama bin Laden? See, this is what I mean. This is what I fucking mean, dog. This is what I mean. Frogan never publicly praised Osama bin Laden, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? How is it that your misunderstanding becomes someone else's problem? I wonder why this guy's name is Trust Fund 191. Account created 11 minutes ago. Following since 11 minutes ago. I wonder what other kind of wonderful things he's going to say now that I unbanned him in the chat. This is what I mean, though. If you have disagreements with Frogan, fine. Address those disagreements. I am not pro Bin Laden, Lamau. It's insane to take any legitimate political analysis from Ethan Klein. Yeah, this is what I mean. It's like so fucking stupid. How could someone verbally express a dislike for her saying she hopes Vets gets PTSD without being racist? Someone could dislike anyone who said that? Boo fucking who? Chatter Dad, it's kind of funny that you're saying that because what Frogan said in terms of hoping that veterans that don't feel any kind of way about their service have that experience and that pain carry on to their normal lives, okay, to their everyday lives. And then following up by saying, and I do hope that none of the veterans that actually do feel bad about their service ever feel any of that pain, is a fairly common perspective. Shocking that someone with a Lebanese background would have a perspective such as that. I know. Thanks. I was misinformed. Easy fix. That's what started it. Ethan got triggered about TikToks praising Osama bin Laden. That's what set him on this tirade against Muslims and pro-Palestinian people because some Zoomers realized they agree with some of Osama's anti-American sentiment. Frogan didn't do anything to him except get upset that he unfollowed her and complain in a private Discord about it. Yeah. Did this guy come back with a thanks for the unban? Your mods are more sensitive than you. Ha ha ha. No, brother. We know that you have a fucking sock account that you created with the express purpose. Wait. Oh no, this isn't. This is the Wawa guy. This is a different guy, not the sock account guy. This is okay. Prove it. She only talked positively about bin Laden. My bad. She legitimately is evil. Why does she talk about how misinformed people are about bin Laden then? Wait, what are you talking about? Do you unironically think Frogan is pro bin Laden? Is that what you're saying? Like that's your actual assessment. Do you think I'm pro bin Laden? I assume you think I'm pro bin Laden as well then. Ethan said the same shit about veterans.
I'm like so. But I'm like I'm like so.
Why is this?
First of all, I'm not like a military simp. I don't get the whole thank you for your service thing. This isn't like World War II. You weren't drafted. You signed up to do a fucking job. You're being paid. You're there.
And the job,
you know what it was. I mean, nobody thanked me and my ass.
Lamont, oh, you missed that, huh? No, she just defends him and calls people who dislike him bin Laden misled. Okay, I'm gonna be as gentle as I possibly can be to you right now. Okay, your own misunderstanding of what someone else's commentary cannot be everyone else's problem. At a certain point, you have to recognize perhaps that you were misguided. Perhaps you saw a clip that was out of context. Okay? We can't entertain your hallucinations here. Rogan is not pro bin Laden. Okay? What the fuck are you saying? What are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? You literally made fun of the pro bin Laden TikTok people. It's a video on your channel. Nobody here is pro bin Laden. What the fuck? That's a ridiculous position to hold. It's just a big misunderstanding, huh? Yes. And I'm willing to bet that part of the reason why you think she's pro bin Laden is because not only did you see a clip, maybe you saw a clip, or you heard someone claim that Morgan is pro Bin Laden, and there was, I guess, maybe enough aesthetic markers there for you to go, oh, of course she's pro Bin Laden. Now, it's good and healthy to try to identify what caused you to be duped this way. What could it be? How convenient. Do you extend the same charity to Ethan? Morgan, a real Muslim name, by the way? Wait, what? No. Answer the question. You don't even have to say it out loud. Maybe you can search within yourself for this answer. Okay. And yes, of course I extend this charity to Ethan. Why wouldn't I extend this charity to Ethan? I've extended significantly more charity to Ethan than this. Also, a real Muslim name. Chatter, I think we're beginning to figure out what your actual gripe might be now that we're walking down the different steps. If someone's name is Morgan, then that's not, they're not a real Muslim. Is that what your claim is? Like, why isn't her name Fatma? Is that your argument? Why doesn't she have a real Muslim name? What do you think is a real Muslim name? It almost feels like you're revealing more about yourself that is helping all of us understand how you could have been misguided into thinking that Morgan was pro Bin Laden. Do Americans even know why they dislike Bin Laden? Do you think that's a defense of Bin Laden? That's what caused you? I wasn't joking. This is the tweet. Do Americans actually know why Bin Laden did all that, or do they all believe he hated that they can vote or something? He did quite literally hate Americans because they could vote and had freedoms. He specifically states in his writings or readings homosexuality, lack of Sharia law, drug use, lending of money, and letting Jews run the country. Please read his writings before regurgitating tanky talking points, and running defense for a mass murdering, homophobic, anti-Semitic piece of shit. Fuck Bin Laden and anyone trying to rewrite history. Yes, Lamau, pretending it isn't is fake as fuck. Okay, Chatter, let me ask you something. Do you know the concept of blowback? Are you familiar? Because at the heart of this conversation lies a truth about the point that Mao Wow is making. Not even Frogan. Fuck Bin Laden. Yes, I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think Bin Laden is a good figure. Fuck Bin Laden is correct. Wow Mao is not pro Bin Laden, and neither is Frogan. They would say the exact same thing. I know you guys hate people who hate Bin Laden here. No, we don't. We do hate stupid people, though, who think this is a defense of Bin Laden. This is not a defense of Bin Laden. This has to be a troll at this point. I mean, I think it started off as a troll, but this person also thinks that they're fighting a righteous cause. So maybe don't rewrite history calling Bin Laden a freedom fighter. I will give you $10,000 if you can find any moment where I or Frogan or maybe Mao Wow has, as he fucking memes a lot, but I will give you 10,000 USD if you can find a moment where Morgan, in defense of Bin Laden, calls him a freedom fighter. Not like sarcastic, offhanded remark about the famous article that I always talk about when I'm covering the background of bin Laden, as he was considered a freedom fighter, boldly paving a pathway for peace. That was written in a, no, you just insinuates it. No, I don't. You don't even know how to fucking spell insinuate. No, I do not insinuate that. There has never been a moment where I've defended bin Laden. Even America Deserved 9/11, my very famous moment of controversy, is not actually defending bin Laden's actions. It's more so criticizing America for allowing 9/11 to happen, the concept of blowback. Maybe one day you will understand that. Yeah. Here. Anti-Soviet warrior puts his army on the road to peace. This is from The Independent. This is a puff piece from Robert Fisk about bin Laden. I have never called bin Laden a freedom fighter or insinuated it. Bin Laden is a Saudi royal family American CIA asset. Why in the ever-loving fuck would I ever consider him to be a cause for good? You're laughing, but this is half your country. I know. No, it's just defending the terrorist attacks. No, it's not, because you have no way of understanding anything. It is so difficult. You're being purposely obtuse, I think, or you're just as stupid as we assumed you were from the start. Bin Laden is an American asset, an industry plant, if you will. Okay? He was our guy. We propped him up. The Saudi royal family kept giving him funds. Funds to do 9/11. Explaining the historical reference points that led to 9/11 is not defending 9/11 nor defending bin Laden. What does this have to do with your friend's post positive shit about how bin Laden was so wrongly hated? By the way, what's your excuse for calling Muda a fake Muslim? I like that you very quickly realize that you're even with your dense skull, you understand. First of all, I didn't say Muda is a fake Muslim. Once again, you made that up, and I never even insinuated that. I said that the very same racist forces that hate Muda for being visibly brown, being Indian, and being Muslim are never going to appreciate his commentary, no matter how hard he tries to fence it on genocide. I was saying Muda is a more real-ass Muslim than me, considering he did the pilgrimage he went to Mecca. He went on Hajj. Nope, you're still pro bin Laden. You just hide it better than the fat girl. Muda literally called you a Muslim cosplayer, Lamau. That's so funny. So wait, this guy is mad at me for something Muda said about me? What the fuck? And he's claiming I said the thing to Muda that Muda actually said to me? He never fanced that. He's more of a Muslim. I know that. I recognize that. He is. One must ask why Wow, the fucking guy who tweeted the fucking tweeting question, is not receiving 1/10 of the vitriol directed at Frogan. Perhaps it's because he is an anonymous meme account online and not a visible hijabi Muslim woman. Maybe that's the reason. Anyway, but going back to the point here, I love that I described to you the process in which no one here that you have so far smeared as being pro bin Laden is actually pro bin Laden. And yet, after this back and forth, this conversation that took place for the past 15 minutes, you still went back to, nope, you're still pro bin Laden. You just hide it better than the fat girl. Why? Why would I feel the need to hide it if that was the case? There's a million different insane perspectives that people just fucking throw out there on a daily basis. Why do we have to relearn why we hate bin Laden? You're not relearning why you hate bin Laden. You have not even understood why you hate bin Laden. If you think it's because 9/11 happened because they hate our freedoms, you haven't learned anything. Ironically enough, in my commentary about how TikTokers that are pro bin Laden in that YouTube video that I did that you can go and watch, I mentioned this. This is a common issue where propaganda falls apart. That's why Lamau, that's your boy Wow Mao defended. Wow Mao is not defending bin Laden either. The idea that 9/11 happened because they hate our freedoms is fucking bullshit. That's not why it happened. And if you constantly create the notion that all of these guys are just simply barbaric and bloodthirsty, even if their actions are vicious, barbaric, and bloodthirsty, as 9/11 certainly was, you will never be able to identify how acts of terror happen. You will never be able to analyze why violence occurs. Okay? And therefore, you will never be able to stop future violence from taking place. There's a parallel there for October 7 and Israeli security as well. This is the issue. And the secondary consequence of this is that when you constantly present this as a, they fucking hate us for our freedoms, they hate us because they ain't us, if you think that that is the reasoning, okay, and that's what you tell people over and over and over again, and then when they actually go and, 20 years, 25 years down the line, read his writing, they go, wait a minute, he's actually a brilliant guy, because they're fucking stupid, because they've been misguided into thinking that this is like a bot, an NPC. It is important to understand all of the context surrounding how certain violent actions come about. You're a little propagandist, and yes, he is. He barely wearing a mask. That's why it happened. They attacked African countries first. Is that because America bad too? Oh, chatter, I can't begin to explain to you like the underpinnings of Salafist terror and why it happens. Is like saying American intervention had nothing to do with ISIS forming. You know what I mean? If you think that it's like, if you think that, ISIS formed because they were just like, they were doing too much Quranic reading. You have the IQ of, you have room temperature IQ, I know you can't because you're a terrible propagandist. You're a little propagandist, and yes, he is. But I'm also a terrible propagandist. Okay, got it. This is not even propaganda. I'm just explaining to you how things take place. I'm explaining to you action and reaction. The very fact that you've been so sheltered from critical thinking leads you to believe that I'm actually doing propaganda when I explain this to you. You want to believe that everything is happening in a vacuum, or everything is happening because people read the Quran. People read the Quran too much, and they got radicalized by reading the fucking Quran. Moving on to ISIS now because you failed at defending bin Laden's motives? No, I didn't. There is an identical through line there. I'm describing to you a concept of hi. Yeah, but I'm gonna end it right now. Don't worry. How are people this delusional? Yeah, you'll see. You'll see the most depraved, monstrous dumbasses. You call yourself a propagandist, but you're not. Oh my God. You don't know what propagandist means. Propaganda is simply voicing your fucking perspective. It is simply marketing. Propaganda doesn't have to be lies. That's your understanding of it. It's fine. I always say I am engaging in agitative propaganda, for example. But again, I'm going down the rabbit hole with you right now, addressing your points as you try to deflect away from the major point of contention. The same underlying material realities and the instability and volatility born out of American destabilization in the region that caused ISIS to form is the same exact reason why Osama bin Laden, which was backed by the same fucking forces, as a matter of fact, was able to make inroads in this regard and get control and garner influence and then inevitably do a horrible terror attack on 9/11 against the United States of America. Okay? Sam Harris giving people a license to do Islamophobia hasn't helped. Dude, like this dude's too stupid to even fucking understand what Sam Harris is saying. This is like entry level shit. Yeah, the article is literally on screen. He's just like refusing to comprehend what he's looking at. I don't think he gets it. Is that why you praise terrorism? Because you share the sympathies of bin Laden? You sound a lot like him right now. America's just so evil it has to be attacked, right? Chatter, I do not praise the United States of America, nor do I praise the terrorist state of Israel. The United States of America is the arch terrorist on the planet. Israel is the weapon that the United States of America wields in the region. It seems like you are the actual terrorism defender here. Anyway, I gotta go because I'm having dinner with my family. But hopefully there was someone that learned something from this process. But I think in the process, we did understand that this person is Islamophobic, especially because I explained to him the fact that he was misguided, thinking that Morgan was pro bin Laden or thinking that I was pro bin Laden. He even openly recognized that I was at least presenting myself as not pro bin Laden, but I was secretly still deep down inside pro bin Laden. Why does someone arrive at that conclusion when there are countless hours of my commentary describing why bin Laden is a bad guy, which is hilarious to even cover? Why? Perhaps there's a different reason. Perhaps there's some underlying bias there that is the reason why he says, no matter what you say to me, I don't believe you. I still think you are pro bin Laden. That is Islamophobia. Anyway. On that note, yeah, it's good old-fashioned racism, folks. That's what it is. But I think in the process of me having this conversation with him, there are some other people who might have checked their fucking implicit biases that they might have. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. And free Palestine. Peace.